Hello and welcome to the Watering Hole. Thanks for checking out this clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe because that'll make the baby Jesus cry, and I know how much you guys love making the baby Jesus cry. Well, I mean, we're starting with a less serious topic, so I titled the stream Guilty Again because another verdict came out on a very high-profile politician. No, actually, no. Not even a politician. Just a high-profile person who's related to a politician.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Walk us through it.
Hunter Biden was guilty.
Oh, yeah, the gun trial?
Yeah. I'm not going to read the article too much, but actually, I'm not going to read it at all because it doesn't even touch on what I want to get to. I couldn't find one article that actually touched on it all, so I'm just basically showing the headline as, I don't know, whatever. But
it's there?
It's there, yeah. So
what were the actual details as far as what the verdict was? Because I know that, like, he had gun while also had drugs.
So it's not had gun while had drugs. It's he lied on a form saying that he was not using drugs at a time when he, like, is it the application for a gun? Yeah, there's a checkbox saying I certify that I am not addicted to any illegal substance or any drugs or something like that, and am not using them. So, like, there's a lot of wiggle room there.
So he lied on a form.
Yeah, but there's a lot of wiggle room there with, like, what does it mean to be addicted? Like, what if he wasn't using it, and in his own mind, he was like, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I'm no longer addicted to this. Because, you know, like, the addiction cycle is such that oftentimes someone who is still addicted to something will feel like they're not, and honestly believe that they are not.
They could stop at any time.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Karen Tuplin says, hello, it's me again. Don't know how long I'm here for, though. Thank you for the £5, Karen.
We appreciate you being here.
We do. Yeah, so he checked, he might have lied on a form. No, okay. He was found guilty, so let's just say, yes, he lied on the form. Let's say, for argument's sake.
It's easy at that point to just be like,
he lied on a form. So the thing is, now everybody on the right is like, I don't know. I think this is another one of those dog caught the car situations because, like, for the longest time, they were like, oh, Joe Biden's going to protect his son from getting prosecuted. And then he was being prosecuted. And then, oh, Joe Biden's going to protect his son. Like, kind of the same thing we mentioned last time with how the people who are saying, oh, nothing will ever stick to Trump kept moving
they'll move the goalposts
every time something stuck to Trump. So it was kind of the same thing with this. Where, like, every time something happened to Hunter Biden, they would move the goalpost and be like, oh, yeah, but that's never going to happen because Joe Biden's going to protect him because he's all corrupt, because he weaponizes the DOJ.
And then it just so happens
and then
that
he doesn't.
Yeah. It's because these people react to things. They don't tend to sit down and try to actually figure out why they're happening.
Yeah, so what I kind of want to get to is how... Like, they talk about how Trump's trial was a weaponization of the Department of Justice and was a miscarriage of justice. It was a politically motivated sham trial sort of thing, whatever. This kind of is that. Because, so, like, first off, I don't care that he's guilty. Dude lied on a form. If that's a crime, fine, whatever. He broke the law. In this case, I feel like... so I am all for more restrictions on gun ownership, but given the gray area that is whether or not he actually was aware that he was still addicted at the time or not, like, that's enough of a gray area that I'm like, that probably shouldn't be the big deal that it is. And then when looking into it, it turns out it's not. This is not a thing that is ever charged for anyone.
Oh.
What this is this is a charge that is usually brought as a threat to get people to plead to other charges.
Like, we got you on this. Imagine all the other things we can get you on.
Yeah. It's like, we got you on this. We know we can convict you on this. So why don't you just plead guilty to this other thing and you'll get a lighter sentence? Like, that is what the charges that he was just found guilty on are usually brought for. It's not something that ever goes to trial, generally. Balthazar 228 for $10 says, GOP, Hunter's guilty, hang him. Wait, we already showed evidence in Congress that he was hung.
Oops.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oopsies.
Marjorie Taylor Greene brought that to everybody's attention.
So yeah, so this is not normally a thing that goes to trial. So the fact that it even went to trial means it is politically motivated. If he was just an ordinary guy, he would have gotten off with a slap on the wrist. He would have like been able to plead out of it, or they would have just used it to pressure him into something else, or they wouldn't have even bothered charging it because it's not something worth charging. But because he's Joe Biden's son, they're like, no, we got to prosecute him for, like, they've been searching for something to prosecute him on for ages. Like, and what it's kind of pathetic, really, that this is the best they got. Like, they, with all the accusations they level against him about like accepting money from China, accepting money from Ukraine, sending bribes to Biden on behalf of Ukraine and China, like all the stuff that they accuse him of doing. First off, it's usually stuff that Trump has demonstrably done. Like, have you ever seen the movie My Son Hunter? That was made by
No, I
Breitbart.
haven't.
It was made by Breitbart. It was released on the day when Steve Bannon was indicted for some of the stuff that they accuse Hunter of doing in the movie. It's got Gina Carano in it.
Oh, of course it does.
That was the first project that she took on after losing the Star Wars gig.
I like how she has gone on record recently to say, hey, if Disney wants a contract with me again, I'm totally down.
No, she's suing them to get her job back because it turns out that being an actor in the right-wing space kind of sucks. You end up like Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, the charges are kind of it's pathetic that they're even bringing them. But then on top of that, they did weird things in this, like the gun shop that sold him the gun. They gave them immunity because what happened was the person who took his application modified the form after he signed it.
What?
Hunter only gave him one form of ID and 2 were required. He added the second form after he'd already filled it out and after Hunter had already signed it. That is massively illegal, and if anything, that is a much more serious offense than just saying, no, I'm not addicted to something right now. Because, like, that's a gun shop. If they've done this for one person, what are the odds that they've done it for other people as well? And so, like, they are letting people get guns that probably shouldn't be getting guns because they are playing fast and loose with the rules. So that is a much more serious crime, but they gave them immunity so that they could testify against Hunter. So, like, they are actively ignoring worse crimes specifically to go after Hunter. And on top of that, so when a new president takes office, particularly when the parties change, when it goes from a Democrat president to Republican or vice versa, generally one of the first things they do is fire all the U.S. attorneys that were hired by the previous guy. That's just a thing that they do. Biden did that. All of the U.S. attorneys that were hired by Trump, bye-bye, we're asking for your resignation now, except for one. Guess which one he did not ask to resign? The one that was in charge of prosecuting Hunter, or investigating Hunter at the time. So, like, he
actively made certain that whatever justice needed to be met through was actually, like, met through. He didn't interrupt that investigation or anything.
So, like, they accuse him of weaponizing the Department of Justice all the time, but, like, he actively ignored, he actively did things that a president would not do in order to get his son in more trouble than his son would have gotten in had he done the normal things that a president would do. So, like, that's not weaponization of the DOJ. Just a second.
Jesus Christ. That's kind of funny because you know that there's not going to be a single Republican that's going to listen to that and go, "Oh, yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair." No, they're just going to be like, "Well, that doesn't matter." Or they're going to move the goalpost to something else. Because that's typically what happens. And that's really sad because that's one of those few things that, like, it shows a politician actually having a level of integrity.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I feel bad for Hunter because, like, he's had a rough life. And now he's, like, I mean, he's had a rough life with a lot of money, so, like, that's a lot less of a rough life than probably anyone in my audience. But still, like, he has not had as easy a life as most rich kids have. And he's had legitimate problems. And now those problems are being exacerbated because of who his dad is. And, like, that's all it is. And, like, honestly, I don't care. I don't care if Hunter goes to jail. It's not that big a deal to me. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, poor Hunter. Like, he's still a rich kid who, made some mistakes, and
Yeah.
he probably doesn't deserve jail time. But I'm just like, I don't know. The Republicans talk about it as though we're all super duper upset about him being found guilty, and it's like, no, he lied on a form. It's fine. We know it. You know it. Just like we know that Donald Trump forged or what was it? Committed fraud with his business records. Like,
it's information that's there and known. So we're here.
All right. So that's really all I want to say about that.
Yeah, that's fair. It's like it's not quite a nothing story, but it's kind of a nothing story.
It should be a nothing story.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it is historic in the sense that it's the first time a sitting president's son has been prosecuted for something, but, like, I feel like first time a former president has been convicted of felonies is a much bigger story. So, like, I just don't care about this one.
Don't worry. Hunter Biden's laptop is going to prove, I don't know, fucking something at this point.
I can't believe they found that to be admissible. Like, the story of how the laptop came to be is just so fucking
bonkers.
Wild. Yeah. Like, a guy with a vision impairment in a state that Hunter wasn't even in at the time took a laptop from someone that I guess he visually recognized was Hunter Biden, despite his visual impairment. And then, and it just so happens that this laptop repair guy is a super duper ardent Trump supporter and always has been. And so he gets a laptop from Hunter Biden and waits the 90 days for it to officially become his property, because Hunter didn't go to pick it up in Delaware, because why would he? He doesn't go to Delaware, and he wasn't there at the time anyway. Like, he was in other places. And because it had stuff that he, like, honestly, it was probably hacked off of, like, Google Drive or something.
Yeah, like I remember there was one leak of some of the stuff on it that was like, yeah, a little yikesy, but at the same time, it's not the biggest conspiracy secrets of the ages like it was touted to be.
Yeah, like there was like all the legitimate stuff that was there. Like, it didn't come from the laptop; it came from other places and we put it on the laptop. And like, it's like 99% that was a Russian disinformation campaign. And like, even I think it was the Washington Post that originally broke the story, and even they came back with like, yeah, no, it's actually kind of bullshit. So, anyway,
welcome to America. This is what partisan politics get you.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we're at.
Oh, Naramdaput says, wait, the laptop wasn't. Naramdaput says, wait, the laptop wasn't even Hunter's. Not likely. Like, unless part of the campaign they actually stole the laptop from him, but like, it's the chain of custody on that laptop is so weak that it just like it boggles the mind that anybody took it seriously. Like, I think the laptop repair guy ended up, like, the first person he contacted about it was Rudy Giuliani.
Of course.
So like, guy who just got indicted for a bunch of other fraud related stuff. Not the most trustworthy of sources.